Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to another edition of Chopping It Up with Ramel. No notes, straight from the throat. Well, listen, I'm just returning back from vacation, so I've been missing in action for a little while, and what a nice vacation it was. First of all, before we get started, I just want to say Happy Memorial Day to those brave men and women who have served our country and put their lives at risk. I want to just say thank you to you guys. I also want to give a special shout out to my daughter on a very successful high school graduation. I couldn't be any prouder. Although she's accomplished a milestone, she's not done yet. I mean, she's got 4 more years of college to go, so we're looking forward to that. But nevertheless, we're proud of you. I love you, and I just wanted to share that. Also, during my vacation, I was able to go to my niece's graduation, high school graduation, and I'm equally proud of her success as well. The sky's the limit for both of you young ladies, and hopefully you guys will achieve more. Well, as I said, my vacation is over. I'm on my way to work, but I wanted to get at you. In the weeks that went by, there was a lot that went on. We had some good boxing over the weekend with Kell Brook and Spence Jr. It went like I thought it would. I thought Spence would win the fight, and he did just that. It was a pretty good fight. It was pretty even at one point, but before the fight was stopped, before Kell Brook took a knee, it looked like Spence at that point had been taking over the fight, and it looked like he would have continued on to be the winner of the fight. But I'm going to tell you something. I got a lot of respect for boxers. Boxers, that's an unusual sport. It's different. I mean, literally, you're in the ring to pound someone into submission, and it's legal. With that also said, there's no timeouts. There's no substitutes. I mean, for 3 minutes that you're in that square circle, just getting pounded on, or maybe moving around, throwing punches, whatever it might be, you have a minute between rounds to get yourself together. And not just to catch your breath, but to work on any damage that might have been caused to you. Listen, I would never challenge the heart or of any boxer, for that matter. However, I didn't like how that fight ended. As a champion, Kell Brook, I believe you got to go out a little better than that. You're a champion. You're in your hometown. And I can understand you had some eye troubles in the past and so forth, but this was the other eye. It wasn't like the eye was closed. It was swelled up. Did you have a chance to win the fight? At that point, you were probably only down a round or two. I just thought that it could have been a better finish. And I have to say, I'm a little bit disappointed how it ended. I'm happy for Spence. Anytime you can take your show on the road, go into another country and capture the belt, I find that to be impressive. So good win for Spence. He named out a couple of names afterwards. He mentioned Pacquiao, and that's for the money. He mentioned Keith Thurman. That's one you got to be careful with. But Spence showed that he can fight and that he belongs in this arena and that he is someone not to take lightly. So if he wants to challenge any one of those, I clearly look forward to that. And I support his decision, whether it's for financial reason or just for the love of the game. And I respect that. This is an upcoming boxer who how can I say, this is not the last we're going to see of him. And I hope they don't have a rematch, him and Kell Brook, because at this point here, I don't think Kell Brooks deserve one. I really don't. I thought that was a knee as a cop-out, a quitter. And again, I don't challenge the heart of a boxer, because again, that's a sport that is like no other. You know, that's not a sport that you, at 17 years old, decide this is what I want to do. This is something you got to be groomed from a youngster. And but I just didn't like the finish. I don't. We're going to move right along. Thursday night is the start of the NBA Finals. First time in history that 3 years in a row we're going to see the same two teams go at it. I will save my comments and prediction about it towards the end of the week. But what I do want to talk about is the NBA draft. The order is set. Of course, my New York Knicks is picking 8. One thing I don't see in the NBA draft, as we see in the NFL draft, is teams moving up, trading draft picks to move up. Yeah, there's draft day trades, but not like in a manner where you see in the NFL. And if I'm New York, I would take a page out of the NFL and try to move up into the top 5. I don't like where New York is slotted at number 8. I think number 8 is the hit and miss spot. You get the leftovers of the best. But what happens is you get the leftover of the best and the best of the leftovers, but it don't always fit your need. And even though New York is in the need for everything, I have to say, I like Malik Monk out of Kentucky. I think the guy's a shooter. He could be a threat in the NBA, but he's an undersized 2 guard. And the question for me is, can he play point guard? If he can play point guard and continue to shoot the way that he does, then I would consider him at the number 8 pick if I'm New York. But with a team that's in need of a point guard, and then you draft an undersized 2 guard, A, what do you do with Courtney Lee? And B, who's going to pass him the ball? And if that's the case, you're going to need a big point guard to make up for his size. So I'm not sure if that's the right move, but clearly Monk at number 8 might be the best of the leftovers and the best of the rest. So it's just one of those things where that's why I don't like number 8. And I think the Knicks should try. They have 2 second-round draft picks. I don't know if they can package one of those with that number 8 pick and move up to number 5 with Sacramento or something like that. I just don't know. I mean, that pick just doesn't sit right with me. And then you have Boston, who's probably has the most or the biggest decision to make in the offseason. And it's not so much with selecting at number 1. It's just, what do you do with that pick? Do you keep it? Do you trade it? I mean, I hear so many people talking about Isaiah Thomas. Is he long-term? The guy has proved that he's long-term. And I don't see why you wouldn't want to keep him long-term. But clearly you got holes in that team. You need a secondary scorer, if not a primary scorer. And they have $40 million to spend, along with the number 1 draft pick, along with possibly the number 1 draft pick of next year. What do the Boston Celtics do? Do they go after Paul George in a trade? Do they go after Jimmy Butler? Do they sign Gordon Hayward? What do they do? Do they go after Blake Griffin? If they keep the pick, do they draft Fultz? Or do they do the unthinkable? Do they draft LeVar Ball? I'm sorry, Alonzo Ball. LeVar Ball is the dad. Well, you might as well say that because they're a package deal. I'm sure if you draft the son, you're getting the father. So, what do they do with the pick? After next season, you have Avery Bradley, along with Isaiah Thomas, both becoming free agent, which means one of them is not going to be able to stay. If you trade for Paul George, he will also be a free agent at the end of the year. So now you would have 3 players to decide on. But if you trade for Paul George, chances are you're not using money to get Gordon Hayward. So what do the Boston Celtics actually do? Not a Boston fan, I'm an NBA fan, but I just like chopping it up with about other teams. What do they do? Here's what I would do. I would look to sign Gordon Hayward. I really would. If Gordon Hayward makes it known that he's going to remain in Utah for 200 million reasons, I understand. But if they cannot get him, then I'm going after Jimmy Butler. I go after Jimmy Butler, draft Fultz. I would move Chowder to the 4, let Butler play the 3. Avery Bradley's a keeper, guys. He is a keeper. He's part of the heart and soul of that team. And that heart and soul, to me, is Bradley and Marcus Smart. Those 2 are keepers. Marcus Smart can play 25 minutes a game coming off the bench and he'll be happy. Those 2 guys are keepers in the Boston Celtics uniform. But what does Boston do? We know what the Lakers are going to do. They drafting Ball. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. The only way they don't draft Ball is if the Celtics draft Ball. Otherwise, they're drafting Ball. What does Philly do? I can't see them going after Josh Jackson. I mean, Ben Simmons is coming back. I think there'll be a failed experiment if you play him at the 1. I think you need to get a point guard over there, if not a shooting guard over there. TJ McConnell has played well enough to stay on the roster. I think between Embiid and Ben Simmons and Okafor and Saric, I think your front court is set in Philly. Philly needs a 2 guard. A good 2 guard. Who could that be? The top 2 guard in the draft is Malik Monk. There's reports that Kyle Lowry from Toronto might want to sign there and go home. If that's the case, Malik Monk will be a good fit there as a 2 guard. But outside of that, I think they should focus on a backcourt. Either go point guard or go 2 guard. And I don't see them needing Josh Jackson, Jason Tatum. I don't see them needing those type of players. They don't need a big man. They need help in the backcourt. So we'll see what happens there. But those are your 1, 2, and 3. Clearly the Lakers is going after Ball. Boston most likely takes Fultz if they keep the pick. And if I'm Philly, I have to search for backcourt help. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. That is what they need more than anything else. Backcourt help. Well, that's going to do it for this morning. I just wanted to get back into the fold. It's been a while. I'll be coming at you soon to give my prediction on the finals. Should be a good one. And we'll chop it up soon. Peace and blessings. Y'all have a great day. This is Ramel. No notes, straight from the throat.